You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
The Herons are champs. Yeah. Roll south to Freedom Park, rockin' pink and black. Official tissue in the 305, bounty full of grapes. The Battered Fam with Chris and Dan dropping hot takes. Messi and the Herons start the season with a star on the crest, so 29 fan bases can cry, cause we the best. Sign homegrowns like Noah, Frey and Ruiz, replacing goats with greats. Yeah, Miles got the cheese and he called it. Freedom to dream was the backbone. From Lockhart to Miami, it feels good to be at home. Multiple times a week on YouTube and audio. Take the time to subscribe, like and share the show. So check and chat, grab your MLS Cup and coming. No question about it, I'm ready to get a star again.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Chris, the Herons are back. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 492 of the Battered Herons podcast. I am your host, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, as always, is the KBD. How are you doing, sir?
I can't wait to get started talking about Inter Miami. We are less than a week away from game.
5 days.
I can't wait.
And
Yes.
shout out anybody that wants to watch a watch along. We're gonna do a watch along Saturday night on the MLS channel since it's the premier opening day game. So on the MLS Battered MLS fans, make sure you subscribe. We're gonna be watching the show with a live watch along. So make sure that you jump on for that. So, Chris,
Yes.
we've done quite a few of these already. I think this might be like the fourth one, maybe we do. Preview show. So we try to go over a little bit of everything from things that are worrying us. We go over positions and, we just try to cover a little bit of everything. Right? We're starting off the season. We're trying to start it off hot.
Yeah.
So, Chris, I guess we could start with the basics. Preseason. Your thoughts on the preseason so far?
Well, I mean, it's only been 3 games, right? I mean, you had your loss. I mean, look, it's preseason.
We're lucky, though.
I don't want to count.
We're lucky.
We
Because we got
Why?
to watch the games. For those of you who don't know, we're doing Battered MLS fans
Yes.
with 30 guests in 4 nights. We're covering every single team. And I've talked to 8 teams by now. And all 8 people, when I talked about the preseason, all told me the same thing. We only got to hear about it. Maybe we got to watch one game, if that. Like, we were lucky. We got to watch like every single game. And it was against good competition where other teams are just like mollywhopping USL teams and college teams. So we're lucky in that aspect because we actually got to see our team.
Did Danny freeze, guys, or is it me?
Oh, it must be me.
I need to know this because right now Danny is frozen, and usually it's my internet. Okay, I didn't hear a word you said. You totally froze, so I have no idea. I literally just started talking like if you weren't even there.
Oh, I was just saying that we're lucky because we're doing the Battered MLS fans, and all other 8 teams that I've interviewed so far have all said, like, I didn't get to watch any of the preseason, where we've gotten to watch all the preseason games. And on top of watching all the preseason games, it was against good opponents. Whereas in other teams are playing against USL and college teams.
Well, and not only that, but like we don't need Franco to sit in the bushes and give us a play-by-play on Twitter. Like, I mean, remember that? There were times where Franco was literally spying from the corner of the stadiums, telling us breakdown play-by-play. I mean, look, we're thankful that we have so many eyes on this team that the preseason games are so much bigger than what they actually should be, and they're publicized and they're available online.
Shout out to Rico De La Vega.
I'm thankful for that, for sure, and we can be able to see that. Rico De La Vega actually bringing up, yes,
that we should have played Miami FC. We actually did play Miami FC in a closed-door game where Luis Suarez scored. So, Rico, we actually did play against Miami FC.
And I think we only won 1-0 against Miami FC.
Well, I didn't see the score. I don't remember. I just know that Luis Suarez scores.
Well, yeah. And look, like I said, I think just talking about the preseason, wins and losses aside, I think the idea, generally speaking, is to see improvement game to game. And I think that's what we've seen, right? I think we've seen steady improvement game by game. I think there's some players that I wish we would have seen a little bit more, but it is what it is. Thanks, Mr. Krabs, for calling me a nerd. I
All
guess I
right.
should just take my glasses off.
No, the glasses are working fine. All right, so let's get started. Let's start
Backline
with
runs.
let's start with the basic question, and I asked the chat every question that I ask Chris. I want full engagement from the chat. We'll try to get up as many comments as possible. So, number one, your biggest worry going into the season.
Well, so I think when it comes to the biggest worry is this injury to Messi bigger than what's, I guess, being shown or not told? Because we know that injuries do hit Messi, and it doesn't help when he's injured because we don't find ways to produce offensively without Messi. And look, people are saying it right there. I think other than that, everything sort of works itself out when Messi's on the pitch. Obviously, he's the greatest player of all time.
The visa issues, I think that those like maybe week 1 or something, but that's not a long-term worry. Messi fitness, that's a fair one. Another one that I think, and I've said it a few times on the show already, is I feel like we're putting a lot on the shoulders of, or depending a lot on Allende being what we saw him do in the playoffs. And although I do think Silvetti will be a good player, I feel like the sample size was small, and I feel like we're riding on we're relying heavily on these two guys just giving us what they gave us in the playoffs. And if they can't, I think that's a worry. So I think that's a worry of mine, just to see if Allende can keep the rhythm and the momentum that he had in the playoffs. He didn't even have a preseason game. I guess technically the Miami FC one if he played in that, but he really hasn't even had a preseason game. So that one I think worries me, is just waiting to see what kind of Allende we get this year.
Well, and Tony Axe is bringing up something here, Messi and Regilon's fitness. I mean, Regilon, listen, I don't know if you guys are following the MLS Twitter page, but he's projected to start game 1. So lock in.
All right. Well, talking about starters, let's get in. Starting 11. What would be your 11, your ideal 11 for the majority of the season? We can start from the back to the front, starting with the goalkeeper. How do you feel about St. Clair going into the season?
Well, I think under MLS pressure, we need to see St. Clair start, and we need to see him play consistently. So St. Clair is a shoo-in for the starting role.
How do you feel about him in general, though?
Oh, I mean, we talked a little bit about it on the Spanish show this morning, and to be perfectly honest, he's one of the people that I was kind of nervous about, because the kind of defense that he played with before caters to him feeling a little bit more comfortable. Now, when you have a Falcone or somebody else back there just by themselves on an island against 2-3 attackers, that doesn't bode well for goalies in general. So that's kind of what I'm afraid of, to be perfectly honest, as well.
And I don't think anybody's hating
St.
on
Clair's
St.
got to
Clair.
start.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody's hating on St. Clair. I think,
No way.
Well, I think what Chris is saying is that he played in a very different defense. They basically just played a low block and defended for their lives the majority of the time. So any shot that the opposing team took was usually a bad shot. Like, there wasn't very clean shots. Whereas now with Miami, because they play such a high line, the opposing teams often get very good shots and good opportunities because we're usually defending in transition. So he's going to have to stand on his head. And nobody's saying that he won't be able to. We just haven't seen it yet. So I think that's where Chris was going with that. All right. Go ahead, Chris. All right. So the back line. What do you think about the back line?
As far as the back, and that's now we're going to get to what's in front of St. Clair. When it comes to the back line, we kind of went over it earlier as well. We got, I think Frey's a lock at the right back position. And I think Falcone is a lock back there as well. My question is Mikael a shoo-in at that center back position? because then you have Noah Allen, who you're projecting to play left back, unless you want to go and remix it with Facundo Mura, right? But I'd rather stick with Noah Allen. So Noah Allen to me gets the left back position. Mikael and then Falcone plays center back with Ian Frey at the right back. I don't know if you agree.
I think Miami King. This is what I would attempt. Just because so many people have talked so well about Muda, about what he can bring on the left and the right side.
It's
That I
another
kind of
Lujan.
want. I kind
It's
of want to
another
see
Lujan.
what he can bring. I know I'd rather have Ian
so
Frey on the
over it.
right side. So Muda over Frey to start the season. Okay, well, so Mike's saying that he would start with Noah Allen, but Muda on the right. I guess Frey off the bench. I think that's one of the biggest question marks. The whole fullback position. I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But
Can I
go ahead.
Can I mention something here? Because wait, I want to go over some comments. Mike V saying Mikael is the only center back that's locked in. Sean Callahan saying Mikael's a shoe-in, and Falcone and Allen will be interchanging. Are we at that point? We haven't even started the season. We're at the point where Mikael is a lock.
Take one based off of what he was doing in
Falcone
Houston.
lost his lock.
I think they're both a lock unless they pick up another center back at some point. I think that's going to be the center back duo for the majority of the season. I can't imagine unless they pick somebody else up. I forgot who was it that they were looking into getting that for like $5 million, and I was like, that's pointless, and they didn't end up getting him. And then Josh was saying we're not playing two left-footed center backs.
Oh, Falcone's not left-footed.
I think he's talking about Noah Allen and Mikael.
Well, yes. I mean, I would recommend Falcone over Allen, but I don't know how much Mikael is a lock. Like, I mean, I guess considering who else you're gonna put there, like you're not gonna put Lujan there. You're not gonna put obviously.
No, Lujan's gonna fill in that Ryan Saylor role now.
Yes. Oof, that's tough.
Actually, and I take that back because Toto Aviles isn't here either. Who's the backup center back? It's Noah Allen, I guess, and Ian Frey, and then Lujan. It's those three, right?
No, because then you have also Mikael, you have Noah Allen, and then you
I'm saying
also
the backups.
you got Lujan. Oof. I mean, are we both having like a really bad brain fart here where we're missing a center back?
It's just Lujan, Frey, and Noah Allen. Those are the backup center backs, I believe. I think that I unless I'm forgetting somebody. Yeah, that's
it. That's tough.
All right. Now moving on. Well, I think we both assume because it worked in the playoffs that we're probably going to go with a 4-2-3-1. No, I'm sorry. That was not what they played. They played with a false nine. Messi has the false nine. But I think that a 4-2-3-1 would work if they play that formation. Who do you think plays the double pivot?
Well, I think the problem with that is Ayala, we just haven't seen enough from him. And Bright hasn't been the brightest in the preseason. Rodrigo De Paul's a lock. If there's anybody you want to say is a lock in the midfield, that's a lock.
For sure.
But David Ayala was projected to be the sidekick. He's the Robin to the Batman of RDP. But we haven't seen much of Ayala.
The thing is, nobody's going to give you what Busquets gave you. But just based off of skill and what supposedly, right, they could bring to the pitch, Ayala could supposedly give you something similar. Obviously, nowhere near the level, but he can be creative. He can get you passes into the final third from that deep line midfield position. And because of that, we haven't seen it yet. But if it's true that that's what he can give you, you know Bright can't give you that. Like, you already know he can't. So if Ayala can maybe give you something like that, I think Ayala is going to get the nod. And I'm kind of curious. Unfortunately, I just felt like we didn't see a lot of him in the preseason.
Well, and Sean is bringing up a good point, and I'm going to go to Miami Kings right after. Bright played more minutes in preseason. Game 1, Bright, Ayala's job to win. Facts. It's 1,000% his job to win, especially now that Bright's slacking. And then Miami King, Ayala should be better than Bright when attacking pass, but need time to fit in. See, that's the thing, right? Like, I think we're all in agreement that Ayala is going to be the better progressive midfielder with Rodrigo de Paul if you expect Rodrigo to drop back. But that's the problem. We just haven't seen enough. Like, where was Franco spying on Miami FC game? Was Ayala out there? I needed like videos of this.
Look, Ayala, Joshua, maybe you've watched a lot more Portland Timbers than I have. When I've talked to people about Ayala, that is not what I heard. I heard that he can get a lot of passes into that final third. I believe he even scored a few goals last year, which you did not get from Busquets. Let me look. I'll check right now how many goals he scored, but I believe he scored a couple of goals last year.
Well, while you bring that up, I'll bring up another midfielder people are kind of chit-chatting about. Rubita says, I hope they bring Baltasar back. I hope we don't, because I've seen enough of Segovia, especially in the preseason. Like, you guys are like not understanding how underrated Segovia is, and the fact that he's going to be a backup, like, that's a great backup to have.
For sure. And Ayala had 2 goals last year. And remember, he plays defensive midfielder, so that's not a bad stat to have when you're a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, but I think Yannick Bright had 2 goals last year too.
No way. Has Yannick Bright ever scored?
Yes, he had a banger a game. There was a banger. As a matter of fact, I just read 1 goal and 1 assist. And that 1 goal was a super banger. Chat, you guys got to remind me. All. Oh my goodness, it was a banger.org is what that shot was.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, look, or against Orlando.
He had a banger.
He had a banger. Danny, he had a banger. He had a banger.
It was like a volley.
I don't remember that. It was like a volley, yes. It was a beautiful. Oh my gosh, how can you not forget? I think about that every 74 hours.
So I think the only question marks are left back and then that second pivot next to DePaul. But I think we're both sold on Messi, obviously playing that 10 role. I think we both think that Silvetti and Allende are lock-ins for the wings, and Berterame will be the starting striker. Your thoughts on Luis Suarez and what he's going to contribute this season?
But all right, Danny. But you're thinking this setup you have is not what Mascherano's going to put out. He's not going to put Messi at that 10 role, is he?
Why not? That's what I'm hoping.
I would think so. Listen, I'm hoping for this as well, but I don't think this is going to happen. I don't, because it's shown that Messi drags a little bit to the right. He's going to start getting into Allende space, all because Allende is going to shoot for the skies on his duffel bag, on his fanny pack bag, runs. I'm hoping that it's this, but I don't think it is.
So what do you think it's going to be, a 4-4-2?
I think it might be the 4-4-2. That's what I think it's going to be. And that Messi's going to be out on the right with Berterame. And as far as like Luis Suarez is concerned, I think it's going to be great to have him off the bench because he is a good creative player with the capability of scoring goals. I think that's something good off the bench, especially in critical minutes.
Tony is saying that he doesn't think that Silvetti's a lock. I think Silvetti's a lock.
No, I don't think Silvetti's a lock. I'm with Tony. I think Silvetti is like, you need to step it up, my guy, because Silvetti might lose that spot.
To who?
He might lose it to Segovia. He might lose it to I don't know. You never know. They might do
the white players
3 in the middle. No, because then you might throw Messi at the right and then Allende on the left, and then if anything, bring in Bright, and then have the 3 in the middle with Rodrigo de Paul.
Allende's right-footed, and Allende's right-footed, and he couldn't convert from his right side. There's no way they put him on the left. That guy he'll run out of bounds every play.
Your coach Hamash put him on the left several times.
I don't remember him
several
being on the left.
times. It happened.
Allende
Allende? Yes.
on the left?
Yes, he played on the left. Yes, he did. Okay.
And
Am I going crazy?
my memory
here?
is
'Cause I
obviously
know he
fit. Look,
played on the
no,
left.
maybe I believe you because look, I forgot about the bright one. So, all right. So that's the starting 11. As we move on, if you had to predict a player that will probably disappoint or the most likely to disappoint us this year. Last year, I think it was obvious that Redondo was a big disappointment last year. Who else was a disappointment last year? I think Redondo was probably the biggest disappointment. Maybe Lujan, because some people were hyped about Lujan.
Do you
And
think
he ended
Fafa
up
was a disappointment?
Nah, I think he just didn't get a chance.
Okay.
So who do you
as
think
far as disappointments are
most
concerned,
likely to disappoint?
okay, so can we both jointly pick one and then separately pick one more? Because I think jointly we could both say Allende is the guy that could strongly disappoint.
I wasn't going to go with
I think
that, but yeah,
that's
that's
the
fair.
easy one.
Yeah, I think okay.
No, I have another one.
Yeah, go for it.
I have another one, but I think
All right.
that he's the one that's going to strongly disappoint. Now,
Okay.
I mean, look, spoiler alert. Hopefully, you guys didn't watch the Spanish show, but the one that I think is probably going to disappoint is going to be St. Clair, because the defense that's going to be in front of him is not Minnesota's or Canada's defense. And I'm not saying that St. Clair's a bad goalkeeper, but what I'm saying is that he also had to make some outstanding blocks at times. Drake Callender had to make outstanding blocks at times. And I have a feeling that because of the way that the team pushes up with one center back playing safety, I have a feeling that St. Clair has the possibility of disappointing. Not because of his quality, but because of the way that the team plays.
That's fair. And that's why that's what I've been trying to tell people. You know, with that defense that we play, that high line, he's gonna get caught out. He's gonna have to make some miracle stops.
That's gonna be
so we'll
killer.
See. I'm gonna say Ayala.
Mikael is not fast, by the way.
He has good recovery speed, is what I've been told. I'm gonna say Ayala is the one that I think has the biggest chance of disappointing because he has big shoes to fill. I don't think anybody expects him to fill. Like, you can't do what Busquets did, but you got to give us something, right? Like, you got to be like, okay, he's not Busquets, but, you know, he's helping out. And I think that a lot of people are going to be looking at him because if he can't give us that, then everybody's going to be like, you know what, get the fuck off. At least Bright can defend, so put Bright in there, you know? So I really do think that he has a lot of pressure going into it. Maybe not people are talking about the pressure that he's going to be under to perform in that position. And I think he has there's a big chance that he might disappoint us. All right. So moving on. Who do you think has the best chance of surprising us this season as a positive surprise?
Well, why don't you go first?
Okay, I'll go first. I think Segovia. Segovia has the best chance of surprising us because I think that in the first half of the season, and we're going to go over the calendar in a bit, I think that because the priority for Messi this year is Champions Cup and World Cup in that order, World Cup and then domestically Champions Cup, I think that regular season wise, I think you're going to see him rest a little more than usual than we're accustomed to because he needs to make sure he goes into the World Cup 100%. And because of that, I think you're going to see a lot of rotation and you're going to see Segovia end up playing that 10 role that Messi usually plays. And he's never going to play it anywhere near the Messi level. But I think Segovia is a good player when he's given the freedom to play that 10 role, the creative role in the center of the pitch. And because of that, I think he will have a good showing whenever he does have that opportunity. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up kind of getting sold during the summer because he has a good first half of the year. So I'm going to say the surprise of the season might be Segovia.
I love that pick because I feel like Segovia, for as slow as people think he is and methodical in terms of his dribbling and He's not like a super pacey player. He's not like a super explosive player. I think that he's got a really high ceiling in that regard, and I think that he would be a really solid, if not great, midfielder for more than 60%, 70% of the teams in the MLS. Now, as far as who I would pick, I'm going with Ian Frey. Ian Frey's got big things he needs to do this season with Inter Miami. A lot of players have been trying to steal his job since last year, still trying to steal his job this year. On top of that, Jamaica still hasn't qualified for the World Cup, and he's got to try to see if he can be able to help Jamaica to get ahead. They still got I think, a game or two coming up in the next month or so. So Ian Frey, I think he's going to be the one to surprise everybody, and I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes an all-star.
Okay. All right. So that was biggest surprise. Now, who do you think is going to lead the team in goals this year?
It's crazy because I think everybody was sort of knee jerk with Allende, but I feel like Beterame he's coming in and he's ready to rock out with his lockout. And so I think that Beterame is going to be the leading goal scorer. Absolutely.
You know what? And what's funny is that I think a lot of people are going to say Berterame or Allende. I think I'm going to stick with Messi. I think that there's a good chance that even though Messi doesn't play a lot of games, I still think like when he plays, he's like a guaranteed brace almost. I'm going to go out on a limb. And you know what? And I say on a limb, and maybe that sounds funny to people because, it's Messi. It's not that far stretch. But he's not going to play a lot.
Yeah.
But because when he plays, he just it's a brace. It's a brace. It's a brace. I think there's a good chance that he can have a lot of multi-goal games. And I think that he'll be up there. I don't know if I think Berterame and Allende, I think that's the easiest choice just because you assume that they're going to play a lot more games than Messi does. But I wouldn't discount Messi. I wouldn't. And I have him pegged for breaking the assist record this year.
Well, I mean, look at what you're cooking up. You're essentially, it's Nancy saying, nah, Messi will be an assist god. You're cooking up that he's going to be the leading goal scorer for Inter Miami and also be the leader in assists in MLS history.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cook-up, Danny, if I ever heard one.
I'm expecting, I think that he won't play, let's see, before the World Cup break, it's 15 games. Of those 15 games, I'll say he plays half of them, 7 or 8. So, and after the World Cup, I'm expecting him to play the majority of them, right? Hopefully he doesn't get injured, obviously.
Yeah.
So let's say he plays 8, and then with the remaining, 17, 19 games, let's say he plays 15 of those, that's 23 games. In 23 games, he can get 26 assists. And then he can also score 19, 20 goals. So, I mean, we've seen Messi. How many games did Messi play last year? I said 23 games possibly, right? Let's see. I forgot how many games he played.
I think he played more than 23 games last season.
Regular season? Let's see.
He
played 28. He started 26. Season,
it was his most played season for sure.
Right. But remember,
shout out to Stancy.
Thank
you so much, Stancy, for becoming a new member. You joined at the right time. We just are able to get better connection last week.
Yes, we figured out. We finally that was my favorite episode. We did the shout out for anybody that's a member. We did La Ventanita. We do it in the mornings on our drive to work, and we were connected perfectly for like 40 minutes, and it was a fun episode. We found out that Chris beat diabetes. He has 20/20 vision, even though he wears glasses. It was an amazing show. So make sure that you check that out if you missed it.
I can't
All right.
Wait for tomorrow.
Anything about
I have
current
a question
events
that's been rattling my mind.
No, and Chris kept us up to date with what was the Guthrie lady? Yeah, we had some current events.
Yeah, Guthrie, she got kidnapped.
All right, and Danny's not very good at predictions. Just look back at Lady Season prediction show. Love us though. at I think he meant to say last season's prediction show. I don't remember what I
Yeah.
predicted. I do know that that's probably the show where I said I would die on the Redondo Hill, so that's fair. But it is unfair because it's very common that people always remember the misses, but they never remember the makes. So I'll just leave that at that. All right. So Chris,
I mean, you missed a lot though.
I also get a lot. All right. One bold prediction for this season.
A bold prediction.
Mhm.
Regilon is going to be absolutely dog shit this season.
Is that bold?
I think that's bold. We brought him in for some money. Isn't he taking up like a Tam Bam deal?
I don't know. I think a bold prediction would be Berterame is going to win MVP.
He's Alba's replacement, Danny. Let's not forget this. Oh, wow.
That's a bold prediction. I'm not going with that one, but I'm saying that's a bold prediction. Give me a bold prediction. Not Region's going to suck.
How is
he
it?
might not even. He
how
already
come-
lost his starting job, and he
how
might never
can
get it back.
Regilon- Well, but that's the thing. He was supposed to come in as this Spaniard replacement for the Spaniard legend.
Nobody expected
Dies
him to be
first game.
Alba. Nobody expected him to be Alba.
MLS Communications has him starting this weekend.
Chat, is that a bold
And
prediction? Because I
We're
don't think
paying
that's
big
bold
money
at all.
for this guy. I think that's a really bold prediction. So
Mike V went really bold, and I'm not even going to bother putting it up on screen, but he went really bold.
yeah,
Not even going to put that on
that
screen.
is
though.
amazing.
All right. All right. So I guess I'll start with my bold prediction. I say Messi leads in goals and assists despite only playing 22 to 23 games. Now I'm talking about the league.
That's insane, dude.
That's bold.
I'm gonna say that we're gonna win every single trophy this year.
Okay, that's fair. That's bold, I guess. We'll win every single trophy. All right.
Yes, that is bold. That's every single trophy. You know how mad
Allende
the
will
whole
win
league would be?
MLS MVP.
You know how mad USL fans would be?
But he's only playing 23 games. I think that's pretty bold. Could you imagine leading the league in goals and assists? Only playing like 22, 23 games? I don't know.
Yeah.
And he'll win Ballon d'Or. Is that better?
I would.
But he has to win the World Cup, so that's a whole nother story. I take it back. He has to win the World Cup. But if he wins the World Cup, I think there's a chance. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
we all know Jamaica's gonna win the World Cup. Come on, guys.
All right. So last but not least. But actually, before we get into predictions, let's take a closer look at the calendar. So I got the calendar here. For those of you, this is the first half of the year. And you can see I inserted the Champions Cup games. So we start off against LAFC on the road, again Orlando on the road, DC United on the road, and then we have our two Champions Cup games, which will probably be against Nashville, and we play against Charlotte and NYCFC. So the first 5 regular season games are all on the road before we have our opening game in Miami Freedom Park on April 4th against Austin. Chris, looking at this, and then the second half of the year is right here, where the Leagues Cup has those 3 games between August 1st and August 15th. We'll have those 3 games. And then, obviously, those other 3 games leading up, if they make it all the way to the final, would be spread out between the 3 weekday games. And then that Atlanta game would get postponed to later on in the year. Your prediction as far as what this team, what are the expectations? But let's start with that. What are the expectations for this team? And then I kind of want to hear realistic, right? Like no bullshit. Don't say every trophy. I don't think anybody, that's the expectation.
Yeah.
What do you think is the expectation for this team?
Well, first off, you don't even have the Puerto Rico preseason game there. So just add that to another place that we have to travel to in between LAFC and Orlando. And on top of that, sorry, Orlando, but you're not going to see Messi again this year. Sorry, but not sorry. as far as like expectations are concerned, I think it's fair to be able to say that we have the capability of winning 3 trophies this year. I think the CCC is a trophy that we should win. Am I going to prediction already?
Oh, you can if you want.
Because I guess maybe, I mean, we could talk about where I think we're going to sit in the standings, because I don't think we're going to be number 1 in the East. I think we're going to be sitting somewhere between like the 3 and 4 seed.
Okay. Like last year.
I don't think that we're going to be number 1. Yeah, just because of the simple fact that we're going to have a lot of critical time periods where players are going to miss games. I mean, look, we're facing off against 2 Eastern Conference opponents in the first 3 games, and Messi might not be playing those games. So I think we're going to sit around 3 or 4. And as far as trophies are concerned, I think we're going to win the CCC, and I think we're going to win the MLS Cup. Those are the 2 that I think we're going to win. And the third, I would say, is I was going to say League's Cup, but there's that. What's that one game that we have for that
the
Rando
Campeones
trophy?
Cup or something? Yeah, something like Campeones, something like that.
Yeah, throw that in there. Throw that in there. That's the third.
All right. I think the expectation is MLS Cup. And I think the hope is MLS Cup and Champions Cup.
1,000%.
Because I feel like the Champions Cup, everybody sees our roster and they're like, man, this roster is amazing. This roster is amazing when you look at the other MLS teams. But remember, like, you got to beat them. Even though they got eliminated by the MLS team last year. But I think that you're playing against other top Mexican teams that do not have the salary constraints that we have. So although this roster is great on paper, it's great when you look at it compared to other MLS teams. Whereas in the Liga MX teams, I think, have full squads. I'm not saying that they can't win. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be one of the favorites. I just think that people are like, nah, they got to win Champions Cup. No. If they don't win Champions Cup, it's a failure. I've seen a lot of people say that on Twitter. Like, oh, no, it's a complete abomination if they can't win Champions Cup. I think that's far-fetched. I mean, anything can happen in a 2-game playoff or even that one final game, right? If you make it to the final and you're playing against really good Mexican teams. So now if we get eliminated by an MLS team, then I agree. Then it's a bit of a failure. But I think the expectation is MLS Cup again, and then you hope that you can somehow get another trophy, whether it be Leagues Cup, Campeones crap, whatever, something like that. So that's what I think expectations. And my prediction is that we will win the MLS Cup again, and I'm hoping we can win Champions Cup. I do think we'll end up with 2 trophies somehow, some way.
Who do you think scores the first goal at Miami Freedom Park? And tell me why you think it's going to be Robert Taylor.
Oh, my God. I hope it's Messi so much. I really hope it's Messi. Like, I don't want it to be some rando scoring the first ever goal in that park. You know what? I'd rather it be Robert Taylor than, like, just some random, I don't know, David Ayala somehow ending up scoring a goal by somehow. Like, I really hope that it's Messi.
I would be really upset if like Silvetti or Ayala score the first goal.
Could you imagine? I would be
Zuni? Like fuming. Oh
from Austin. I hate that guy. Imagine he's the one that scores it.
He's gonna do backflips everywhere.
Zuni, oh my God, I hate Uzuni. Watching him be the one to score it, or Brandon Vasquez. No, who scored the first goal at
Brandon
Drive
Vasquez
Pink? Wasn't it?
That was Robbie Robinson.
Oh, Rodolfo, that's right. That was an away game. That Pizarro scored the first ever goal in team history. The first one in Drive Pink's history, it might have been Robbie Robinson. I don't remember. I know it was against Orlando. So, all right.
It says Julian Carranza.
Oh, okay. There you go. No, Pizarro scored the first goal in team history, period, and that was in DC. That was the first goal in team history, but that was away in DC. Yeah. Oh, Julian Carranza. There you go. All right, Chris. And I think that's about it as far as our preview show. I think unless anybody in the chat has any questions, I think we went in as detailed through every position and every outcome that we could think of. And I agree. Messi does care about the CCC.
Well,
Any other thing that you want to touch on, Chris, before we head out of here?
I want to bring up. Well, Mr. Krabs says bold prediction: Chris and Danny will be on time for the podcast. Good luck with that, buddy. Okay. I wouldn't bet. Yes, I wouldn't bet 2 quarters for that. Now, Mark Nevarez is saying 3 ads so far. Sliced Bread saying, dude, I've legit had 5 ads. Guys, we don't control the ads. I apologize. That sucks. YouTube has been doing more ads than I've ever seen in my whole life. Watch an ad pop up right now.
That'd be funny if you guys got running the money.
Right?
Yeah. Imagine having an ad blocker.
I mean, look, Mike V can probably 5 goals in 5 games. Oh, that is sexy.
Against who? Miami FC. All right, Chris.
Problems.
Any final words?
No, man. I can't wait. Bring it. We're gonna preview the game this week at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from all the other previews of all the teams we're doing on Battered MLS channel. Guys, make sure to jump over to the Battered MLS channel. Okay, because we're previewing more teams. Oh, look at that. See? On the money. Now people are gonna think I'm lying.
We got part 3 of the Battered MLS Fans a season preview show coming on tonight at 10 o'clock. So make sure you join us. And also, we're going to be doing the watch along on Saturday. So make sure that you join the Battered MLS Fans for that also. And that's it. That's this year's season preview. Hopefully, by the end of the season, it's February 16th. Hopefully, at some point in December, we're celebrating another goal. And let's see how this goes. If you're listening on audio, appreciate you listening to the end. Use 5 stars and a comment. And then any guests on the watch along, probably. Usually, because it's hard to just sit there for 3 hours, just us two. So probably you'll have some people jumping in and out. If you're listening on audio, again, leave us 5 stars and a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And again, Battered MLS Fans if you haven't already. And that's all. So we'll see you guys on Wednesday for our first game preview of the season. So until the next one, have a good one.